Welcome to Preparing for the Unexpected. Today, I'd like to welcome back for fourth or fifth or maybe more appearance, resilience guru and author of his latest book, The Growth Engine, Harsha Sastry. Harsha, welcome back.
Thank you, Alex. It's very nice to get back to your show of Preparing for the Unexpected. I'm delighted to talk to you today.
Well, I'm glad you could find the time and talk about the new book. I know the last time you were here, we talked about your previous book. So now you've got a
Yeah,
new one. So my first question is, what brought this book around?
wonderful. So, I was very much expecting this, but I was not expecting it in the way that you put it right now. And that's what preparing for the unexpected is for everybody, be it a crisis or be it a big book review. So, Alex, here is what prompted me to write this book. I was associated with a group of producers and manufacturers who were young entrepreneurs and were setting up their organization for the production. Now, in the process of them moving around in their journey, I realized in the conversation that there was a need of a micro playbook to be written for these young entrepreneurs who wanted to reach their goalpost. So the only thing that came to my mind is what are they trying to achieve? What is their purpose? And their purpose was growth. So I said, let me demystify growth for them. And growth is the G stands for global, GR stands for reach, O stands for opportunities, W stands for withstanding, T stands for turbulence, and the H stands for honesty. So none of these acronyms that I've generated for the word growth, everyone has to be honest if he wants to grow. Everyone needs to be able to sustain turbulence if they have to reach a destination. Everyone requires to be a global player, and everyone requires to have a reach which is omnipresence for their products. And why does the word engine get concatenated to it? Because unless you don't have an engine to carry all these elements and the bills of material for growth, you won't have a train which reaches its destination safe and sound, just like business continuity resilience is all about enabling people to be safe, enabling components to be safe, enabling the supply chain to be safe, enabling the whole product to be resilient, and enabling the business to be sustainable across the journey. So that is my new book all about, the growth engine.
It is, as you were speaking, I couldn't help but think going operational resilience, business continuity, disaster recovery, etc. It is like an engine. All these different pieces have to work together to be successful, to be able to move forward.
Absolutely.
And I kind of,
Absolutely.
I get this now.
It's absolutely right. Because unless and until you don't have various elements that business continuity has taught all of us in the form of elements, the business has been left alone and we brought all the other things together. What
Right.
we forgot about was the purpose. The purpose was business. Beyond continuity, beyond anti-fragility, beyond resilience is what? There's only one objective of everyone.
Mm-hmm.
We need to exist on the map of the world. We need to exist to ensure that we grow. And why do we want to grow? Is because we want to make profits, because we want to take care of the people, and at the same time, we want to ensure that everything is right.
Right. Well, let's jump into the book because there's a couple of chapters I highlighted that I wanted to get your thoughts on what the message was you were trying to convey. So why don't we jump into the first one? And the first one is the bridge.
Right. Now, if I will talk about the bridge, it's a very simple concept. You see you see a river flowing and you wonder, how do I cross from one side to the other? But on the top, you see a railway line running or a bridge running. But it's too tall for you to reach and walk across the place. You try to swim and you try to go the other side. But what is actually the learning from the bridge? The bridge is the most safest way to transit between across the water from one shore to the other shore. Now, the bridge in business is all about having a companion who knows how to cross the water, how to cross the river, how to cross the hurdles. When you look at a business enterprise, the business enterprise has the capability and the specialization of product manufacturing. They know their product, they know their service, they know how to amalgamate various elements and the bills of material to make that product work. What they don't have with them is the capability to become a global player, to export their services, to export their goods. So the only bridge which remains for that manufacturer or that producer is a joint venture which enables the producer to seek the services with trust, with reliability, and ensure that they cross the bridge safely. So the bridge is all about having the right person to move across.
Okay. The next one I'd like to talk about is the title, where is it? Oh, investment or cost. Now that's going to get
Yes.
everyone's attention,
So
those ones.
absolutely. So everyone will look at saving cost, but it's all about a mindset. The mindset is all about trying to save when actually a particular expense is not an expense but an investment. Now, if you look at insurance, a person, an individual, will be probably looking at insurance as I have to remit a particular piece of value in order to get some services. However, if you look at investment from a business point of view, it's an investment to ensure that they are covered for losses that are unexpectedly going to occur. So it's actually an icon of preparing for the unexpected by having an insurance. You talk about goods insurance, you talk about transportation insurance, you talk about movement of goods across shores, or you talk about cyber insurance. Everything is about preparing for the unexpected because nothing can be predicted that it would happen or it would not happen. Now,
Right.
when you talk about a cost is all about the perspective when you are having to have an expense in order that you are able to build the right capabilities for the business to run as an operation. So that is the most important difference between investment and cost.
Okay. The next one I'd like to talk about is verify, verify, verify.
Absolutely. So if I have to talk about it, Alex, we always talk about, examining, we talk about testing, and we always talk about um, getting results. But what is verify, verify, verify? The moment you have a miss on a dot on the I or a cross on the T, you may not get the remittance of a value that you need to get because it would be a spelling mistake. So, unless and until you verify the smallest ever element in a commercial transaction, you would not be able to satisfy your end results. That is one example. The second example of a verify is about verifying what have you asked for and what have you got a quotation for. For example, you want a particular service, but you do not know the underlying conditions of the service. In that condition, you are not going to be in a position to get the right service. And hence, you would not be able to continue your business. You will not be able to continue your operations. And that is the verify that one needs to do of knowing what has been requested versus what one has received as a service. The third type of verify is all about testing. We have a plan, we write a plan, we document a plan, not only a continuity plan, but even a normal project plan. But do we run a test to see if our plan is actually capable to be a plan? A test to make a plan is required in order to see that we are able to meet our end objective and purpose of enabling a particular common goal and common objective. The usual practice is to write a plan and say, yes, this is the plan, let's start working. But does someone simulate to know if there are steps missing? Probably yes, probably no. So that is the most important thing one needs to follow in the process of growth, so that we are able to mobilize ourselves and ensure that all the wagons of the train are intact and we cross the various stations of operational resilience, organizational resilience, business continuity, ESG, and various other segments that we want to talk of in respect to a continuous sustainable business.
I like that. Next one, anchor the action. What you mean by that?
Anchor the action. Very good. So we are always in the process of continuous innovation, continuous thoughts. So in the process of thinking and in the process of innovating, we have begun following an agile methodology of changing our plan probably more frequently than what we need to. And there is a need for businessmen, for producers, for professionals, for individuals to fix their anchor at a position, clear off, take direction, complete an action, and then move forward for the next action. We would otherwise be finding ourselves to be having too many targets to be controlled, too many targets to be achieved. But at the same time, we would not be knowing whether the organization, whether the production of a particular product, whether the capability of a particular service is reaching its maturity level as we have defined it to be. So the plan remains a plan. The milestones remain a milestone. But if you don't anchor yourself at a particular point and with a particular focus, you would not have the plan and the milestones reaching their destinations. And thus, you would have either a crack in the product or a fault in the product that you're developing, or a miss on your target and your entire objective. So ultimately, unless you don't meet objectives and until you don't meet the targets, you're not going to be able to say that you're continuous and you're resilient. So this is the connection between milestones, plan, anchoring yourself, focusing, and enabling yourself to do business and reaching your destination.
Nice. And our last one, what final message would you like to convey? Taking all of this information you've got.
The final message that I would like to convey is very simple. First important thing is read my book in order that you grow. Whether you're an individual, whether you are a manufacturer, whether you are a leader, whether you are a member of the board. Read my book. You will get various insights to reach the growth path that you wish to reach. The second piece on the lighter side that I want to convey through a story is everyone has been able to understand the disruptions that have been occurring in the world. At the same time, the assumptions which we have documented have probably been all failing. Hence, there is a need for everyone to relook at assumptions. There is a need for everyone to understand that everyone has to prepare for the unexpected. It's all about existence. And with existence comes a small story, which I will just cut short. It's the story of the lion and the gazelle, where both want to exist, but both have uncertainty in their mind, and both are resilient in their own ways and preparing for the unexpected everyday morning. However, there is a tussle of existence on everyday morning. The final thing that I want to say is that when you want to sing a song, you need to learn the song. When you want to grow, read the growth engine. That is the only message I would like to pass in your session for our audience today, Alex.
Well, and on that note, we've come to the end of the show. Harsha, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. Congratulations on the new book, The Growth Engine.
Thank you very much, Alex, and God bless you and God bless the audience.
Take care, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.